Hi, and welcome back to Finally Revealed. In this episode, I want to talk about a particular kind or way of listening called active listening. We have some other videos where we talk about empathy and different relating and communication aspects, and I thought that this would fit into that nicely. Back when I was in school, we went to a high school that actually had 5 grades. So we started at 8th grade and went all the way till 12th grade. That was a big span, and I don't think that's very common, at least in the US. So we had a program that the school developed for peer counseling, and it was to help try to bridge the gap between the younger kids and the older kids and help that transition all in the same school and to help them kind of get along and deal with the different types of people. So we have young kids in 8th grade who are just growing up and growing into their bodies and more immature, and then we have, of course, immaturity runs the gamut, but then we had seniors in high school who are, the men had full facial hair, they're driving, they're doing, adult behavior versus the kids. So to bridge the gap, they developed this peer counseling, and in that, at a young age, I learned about active listening. And it's an easy way to relate to people and to help you as the listener help create space, and people talk about holding space for someone else to express themselves. So the basics of active listening are to position yourself across from the person who's talking or sharing. It doesn't have to be, right up against them, but across from them, so that you're engaged, so that you can see their expression, you can see their eyes, their mannerisms, you can tell, how they're feeling, even if they don't say that. Then as they are talking, you're not there to solve a problem, you're not there to tell them what to do, you're just there to listen. And I don't mean just, as you know, I don't like that word just, but your purpose is to provide comfort to them and a means for them to express themselves about whatever the subject is. So as you're listening to them, when they pause or seem upset or get stuck on something, as an active listener, you're helping to draw them out. And the way that you do that is to repeat a little bit of what they're saying. So number one, you're connecting with them because you're facing them and you're looking them in the eye and you're quiet and you're listening. The next step is to mirror back to them a little bit by saying, you said, your dog got hit by a car and you must really feel sad, and then leave a space for them to fill it in. You are creating the space and holding the space for them to fill it in. And that's what holding space means, for them to express themselves. And as you go further into whatever their story is or their issue, you are acknowledging them. That's the next step. You're acknowledging them and their feelings by repeating back to them a little bit of what they're telling you. So as the conversation goes, they speak, you allow the space to be created, then you comment on their feelings, on what they have just said, ask them how that made them feel, ask any other questions that will help them, open-ended questions that will help them to further unburden themselves or explain themselves. And this type of listening is not just in a highly charged emotional situation, it's in, which it works really well in, but it's in any kind of a situation where the person telling the story or relating the information to you is having a hard time either dealing with their emotions or expressing themselves, or just in general just having a hard time. Maybe they've got a lot of things going on and they need to unburden themselves. And this can really help you relate to them and help them to get this off their chest. In a official counseling situation, then the counselor would go further to explore further feelings and further options and ask the person for the options, not you giving the options, not you giving the solutions, but let them talk themselves through it. If they ask you, that's a completely different situation. But in our situation with the kids, it was parents, issues with parents. It was issues with other classmates. You know, some of the older kids were picking on the younger ones or razzing them. Also, as the younger kids come into the high school, they're shorter, they're not grown up yet, and then as time goes on, they get taller and whatnot. But it was just a time for them to express themselves and their frustrations, talk about any problems that they had, and then at the end of that session, they would ask, the listener would say, is there anything I can help you with? Is there any resource I can find for you? Do you want any, advice from me? And you ask the question. You just don't jump in and tell them, but you ask that question. So active listening, it is a very good skill. It can be used in a variety of situations. And if you are ever a person who has something to unburden yourself, or to get something off your chest, or to just talk about something out in the open with someone that you trust, it will really make you feel better, and it really goes a long way towards improved communications and relating. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions below. Subscribe to see the other videos. Share this with someone that is dealing with people who, in a situation where they've got a lot of kids, or they're a teacher, or they've got friends their kid that has friends who have all kinds of troubles, and they just need a little bit of help in how to deal with them and how to listen to them. It might help them. And please subscribe and ring the bell, and come back and see me next time. Thanks for watching.